And we're back. We're back approaching round 4 here. The Modern Challenge this weekend. You are finding this video out of order. This should be in a playlist. Go to the beginning. See what we've been doing here. We are currently, though, 3-0, looking to get into round 4. Hopefully continue this streak. It's going well. Playing some Pyro Prison, the red prison with Karn, Chandra, Rabblemaster, Blood Moon, Ensnaring Bridge, and Chalice. And see if we can get the dice roll, favorable matchup, and keep the trains running here. Let's play some Magic. And we do get the dice roll against Angel of Death 7 here. I like the hand enough. We're gonna go ahead and keep. I probably play this out on Goblin here, just in case they are a control matchup. Polluted Delta is interesting here. It could be a variety of things. The question here is, do we want to try to Rabblemaster, or do we want to go for the Blood Moon? We could be looking at a Spell Pierce here. Doing Blood Moon would take them off some colors here. I suppose if we attempt the Blood Moon and they do have the Spell Pierce, we do have the bridge behind it, I think it's worth a little bit of the risk here. I'm expecting this to be Spell Pierced, but if it does stick, it's that much better for us. That much better. Hopefully it'll take them off a couple colors here. If we see Watery Grave here, I'm expecting it to be pierced. Alright, just a basic island. And it lands. Alright. We have double island here now. Double island makes me think it's not quite what I thought it was initially. We'll go ahead and Chalice on 1 here. We don't get our 3rd land, so our risk is not paying off necessarily here. And my opponent doesn't seem to care about this Chalice on 1. A little worried about some sort of Narset deck. Our Cavern of Souls would be a little bit more powerful here. So we have Narset across from us. We have a Cryptic Command revealed. It would be nice to draw our land. We'll throw another Chalice out here. We are against some sort of blue-white list, and we are behind now at this point. So our Goblin would have been better. Secondary Cryptic Command. They do need their island to be casting these. We're going to just have to pass here. We again don't hit our land. Bridge is probably a dead card here. Alright. They don't have white mana, and only double blue. We're looking at Mana Leaks, Logic Knots, and other cards of that nature. I'm going to go ahead and Goblin Rabblemaster. I'm expecting some sort of counter here. Though if they don't have counters and they have more like white removal, we'd be good. A Logic Knot for 3? Alright, I cannot pay that. Pass the turn. Hoping they whiff on an island here. If they get another island, we're kind of buried under these cryptics. So I'm going to go ahead and just try it again. And I don't actually care about Narset at this point. Narset's at 1. We can only draw only the 1 card. I think if they're playing something to prevent us from drawing and all, I'm okay with that. Now Spellbomb looks like it was the draw. We are going to plan to Abrade here. I'm going to just swing in here and look to Abrade my opponent. Snapcaster maybe. Noting that they do have a Fatal Push here, so they are an Esper-like build. I'm not going to put Chalice on 2. I like my Abrades. And it looks like, although I initially said the Blood Moon was maybe not the right play after seeing a couple islands, it looks like we got there. And I want to say Blood Moon might be a little more powerful. We have a Fatal Push and a Nile Spellbomb here. A couple basic Chalices as well. Not too bad. Not too bad. All right, we're going to consider Akroma here. We're going to consider Hazoret. I'm going to consider these Eidolons. I don't like Slagstorm here. I don't like my Abrades here as much. I'd probably actually just clear the Abrades. Obviously, Abrade removes, say, Snapcaster. I don't know if they're that Narset draw lock deck, which in case then the Abrades would be nice. But I'll say they'll be nice. I think actually if we were to get a board presence against that kind of deck, we'll be fine. So here's 5 that I don't like, 5 that I can bring in. I also don't like Bridge. So Let's go ahead and bring 2 Abrades back. I think at this point I kind of like these out. A couple of Abrades kind of hedges a little bit on that Narset lock deck. And we're just going to bring in a lot of aggression. Blood Moon would be great to have out. We may not get that though. Our walkers are fine. We're leaving Karn in because we don't really have anything extra to bring in. Torpor would be okay, but we don't tend to bring that in against blue-white. Welding Jar is not too bad for a disenchant, but they tend to have something like, well, they have ways to just bounce Chalice, and we're not worried about protecting the bridge. I think otherwise, Liquid Metal Coating and Karn could shut off a Walker, which is not a bad combination, and Liquid Metal Coating plus an Abrade is a way to remove some of the bigger things that we can't typically remove, like Jace, Narset, and Teferi. I'm expecting little Teferi in our opponent's build, but I also saw black, so I'm expecting something maybe like Esper Charm or other stuff like that. We're going to go ahead and keep this. We know how powerful the Blood Moon was. If my opponent does Thoughtseize here, then we have quite a bit of mana for whatever we do top deck. We will have to top deck something though. We could top deck Chandra or Karn or other things. We don't top deck any of that though, so we've kept a reasonably loose hand here off the back of a turn 1 Blood Moon. My opponent does have black mana this time. Colonnade here. We're still in great shape if we top deck a Blood Moon. We do not. The Abrade I'm going to put on the bottom. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and play our Simian Spirit Guide just to have pressure on the battlefield. It might encourage my opponent to do something about this. They might play Narsets. They might do a number of things. But we do have our 4 mana already. We have a Teferi here. Okay. And they return so kindly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we're a little ways away from Akroma. I think I sort of just want to jam out Simian Spirit Guide again. I kind of want to encourage my opponent to mess with what's on the board than to maybe Thoughtseize me. Obviously, one more Thoughtseize gets Akroma, but we might actually get Akroma out here. We're a little ways away. Let's go ahead and attack in here, see if I can get my opponent to tap down a little bit of mana. Try to get rid of Teferi here. Oh, just a cast down. Destroy target non-legendary. Legendary. Alright, do you have a counter for Chandra here? You do not. We might be getting an Akroma next turn. Deal with that, opponent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have to let Desperate Ritual resolve. It's very likely they do. It's very likely they do. It's just a fairy. Oh, untap, please. No, they bounced. They bounced. They bounced. Thinking. We can do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play Karn. Go get Liquid Metal Coating. Shut this Teferi off. Target artifact, creature, or enchantment. 1, 2, 3, 4. I could shut this Teferi off, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they... I'm almost tempted to go ahead and go that route. Shutting off this Teferi at upkeep. I don't care about this one, necessarily. Let's do that. Upkeep will shut off what I will deem as the more annoying of the 2 Teferis. We'll have 6. We have no more actions here. We can also uptick and start getting rid of cards here. Let's see if they go all in here on Celestial Colonnade. They do, to kill Karn. Alright. This is alright. It's not great, but it's alright. So they do get to activate Teferi now. Untap 3 mana here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We need 3 more mana to do Akroma. There's one of it. We're a little ways away from this doing anything, but... I guess I can take my upkeep stop. Next card is Chandra, or it should be. I don't think they thought Seize Me at any point here, even if they had it. I feel like they think they've got a good grip on this game. And they do. Don't get me wrong. But I think Akroma might get us there. We'll see, though. Colonnade beats in here. Obviously, they have probably, like, Cryptic here. I'll go ahead and run Chandra out into it. Maybe they don't Cryptic. They do Cryptic. Alright, we'll pass turn. As much as I'd like to be able to morph this in some capacity, I don't think we're going to. There's a Jace. We're actually looking okay here, because if they were to fetch one more time, Akroma would be online. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're almost there. Like I said, I don't expect this to win, but it'll have to be 3 attacks with Akroma. We almost want them to fetch here, because if I can get them to fetch, we'll be in good shape. They're looking at the top card. You can give me a land. They put it on top. No fetch shock or anything. Okay, untaps. Alright, Akroma. Come on, land. I don't know. Let's start here. Heck yeah. I'm gonna name... I think it's time to name something like Goblin. Here. This can't be countered anyway. Cast. Doesn't have haste. Doesn't have haste, but we do have fire breathing on Akroma. So if my opponent does not have a wrath effect... Now they could obviously do some cryptic commands to tap it down. But if they don't, it's 2 turns here. It's 2 turns. Alright, they do have the verdict. They do have the verdict. I'm thinking we need to concede here. I'm expecting my opponent with a full grip here to have beaten this. Alright, so my opponent did have the verdict. I guess I never applied too much pressure in terms of creatures before Akroma. There's a Goblin. We need a lot more. Needed a lot more. Alright, so they're aware of Akroma now. I think we still keep it in, maybe more closer to a 3-drop at this point. I think our Blood Moon is fine. Blood Moon on turn 1 or turn 2 is probably going to be pretty good. Our Karn and Lattice piece is definitely fine as well. Double Abrade here. I don't see anything else I really want, unfortunately. I could bring in, I guess, a bridge to prevent the colonnade attacks. But I think if they've gotten to colonnade attacks, we probably lost. Probably lost. Alright, let's play first. This is a pretty spicy one. I think we're going to keep this and I think I'm going to just try to put a lot of pressure on my opponent. And I think it's turn 1 Eidolon. They could have a Fatal Push, which is fine. Fatal Push doesn't hit one of these then. They might be pathing it. A Ritual Spell here would be really good. That's actually not bad either. I can play this out on 1. A Ritual Spell would have been the best thing, but I'll take this. It's an extra point of damage, and if they want to do any countering or killing Walking Ballista as well, they'll need to do it here. Alright, the question is, if they have a turn 4... they have just a turn 4 here. Supreme Verdict. What am I wanting? I think I'm wanting Rabblemaster to hit next turn. I could also just Krenko. I think it's Rabblemaster. Let's attempt a Rabblemaster. If they counter this, they're taking damage. If they don't counter it, and I swing in with Eidolon, I can also kill a Snapcaster. I think Goblin Rabblemaster forces a lot more here. This looks like a Logic Knot. Logic Knot's still going to do damage to them. It's a little bit of a good sign. I say a little bit. Hit him for number 3 here. The question is Krenko worth it here as my opponent approaches Supreme Verdict mana? Let's go ahead and attack here. I'm almost tempted to try this Blood Moon here. There's a fetch. Gets black mana or white. Get white and black. That's a really good sign for us. Paths, my Eidolon. Gonna say yes. Gonna grab my land. And Snapcasters. Okay. I will force them to block here, and we're gonna put a Blood Moon right behind this. I'm liking my position now quite a bit. The Blood Moon's gonna shut off some things that I'm worried about. Krenko is not a fast clock, but he will go wide, so spot removal won't be as good here. I'm gonna have to dodge it. Looks like a mana leak. I'm willing to play him out. Fatal Push is a problem here, but we'll see if we can do Chalice right behind this. So Chalice on 1 was the next play. Abrade to not worry about a Snapcaster. At the same time, Krenko gets around a Snapcaster, becomes a 2/3 as well. Not quite blue-white, and we did get to see Akroma briefly. I think there's the flaw with Akroma, is she doesn't attack immediately. And if they haven't had to expend Supreme Verdicts, we'll just put Damnations, Wrath of Gods, or Terminuses, and they're already at 6-7 mana, and already have Teferi, and already have Jace, and already have Teferi, then it's probably not going to do a whole lot, but it does give them something to worry about. If it's more on the maybe the blue-white side, you could have just Path and Celestial Purge that just isn't going to do anything. My opponent showed several cryptic commands, and their cryptic commands could obviously tap down our Akroma, but it does have to be answered at some capacity. It does limit the answers, but not great. Here, we're not doing too bad, though. Another win in the books. I don't think it's going to give me my draw here, but we're going to keep it trucking, chap. See you in the next match.